How about a slightly smaller Volvo EX60 at a much lower price with more buttons and controls and even better looking? It is on its way after all. Volvo is currently preparing its biggest model offensive ever, and one of all the models coming is the new EX50, codenamed V326. And Volvo executives have hinted at it, and you can read a lot about it online, for example, on CarUp and Automotive News. So I did my reading, and this is what I know and believe right now. But first, Volvo's sales of electric cars have been going really well, up 25% during the second quarter worldwide, except in China, where they fell by 33%. And I will return with a video about Volvo's Chinese challenge, where I interview one of China's biggest car YouTubers, Jackie, at the Speedsters. But now on to the EX50. It will be both wider and longer than the EX40, and the technology under the skin is the same SPA platform as the EX60. This means, for example, mega casting with the entire rear chassis cast in one piece, which lowers production costs. Core computing with a supercomputer from NVIDIA cell-to-pack batteries. The batteries are thus part of the body structure and make the car more torsionally rigid. It has Google infotainment and really good voice control and Gemini's voice assistant. The EX50 will of course also have an 800-volt architecture with fast charging. I'm guessing charging times of around 15 to 19 minutes, depending on battery type and size. And a new feature, if I'm correctly informed, is that the base version will get LFP batteries, meaning cheaper, more durable, but not as high energy density. And I think that's really good. I think it works super well for most people with LFP batteries. And of course, the EX50 gets the fantastic suspension and the low noise level from the EX60 it is based on. So in short, everything you like about the EX60 at a lower price plus a little extra. Then you have the prices then. The Volvo EX40 currently costs from 520,000 SEK, and the new one should come in under 500,000 SEK. Then you can challenge Tesla on price as well. And American rumors say it will cost under $50,000 compared to $56,000 for the X40. So that's a significant reduction. And what is the reason for that? Well, soon. This obviously affects the X40. Should you buy a new one now? No is my answer, and that was already half a year ago when I made this video. Even then, it was a bit too expensive, and above all, the resale value will be worse than for the X50. So no, do not buy a new X40 is my advice, at least. I wouldn't do it. Unless, the thing is, I am quite sure that Volvo will discount the EX40, put together good packages, maybe come out with a classic version, and then perhaps, if that car fits your needs and is enough for you, then it might turn out to be a really great purchase. A new X40 Classic. So no, I would definitely hold off on buying an EX40 until the X50 properly launches. You get to see what it costs, the prices, packages, and all that. And unfortunately, I'm really afraid that it will be more expensive in Sweden. The price indications in the US are that the new EX50 will be $6,000 cheaper than the EX40. I don't think it will be quite that good in Sweden, perhaps. Unfortunately, because Volvo has a stronger brand in Sweden than it does in the US and Germany. And we see this with the EX60. It is cheaper in many other markets than it is in Sweden. In Sweden, Volvo has a strong brand, they charge a premium, and there are long waiting lists for the cars. So it's a seller's market there, but out in Europe and the US, perhaps it's more of a buyer's market. So these super prices on the EX40 for Sweden, I really hope they come, but I'm a bit afraid that it won't quite turn out that way. But we'll see. And unfortunately, if you look at the private leasing prices for the X60, they are very high compared to what you can buy the car for and the competitors. So Volvo is in a golden position right now in Sweden with really nice cars that they can charge a premium for, and it's iconic Volvo, of course. But as I said, if you want good car economy, not so much, even though I think the resale values will be super good for an EX50. And the EX60 is cheap to insure compared to many other electric cars. Hopefully, that will also apply to the EX50, and that it's very good that electric cars are coming down in insurance premiums. Production is set to start in the spring of 2027 at Volvo's new factory in Slovakia. and that's part of the explanation for the lower price. The factory has cost $1.3 billion to build, with a capacity of 250,000 cars per year. This is a substantial factory, and the firm Autocast Solutions has mentioned the figure of 90,000 EX50s produced per year. And what about the other cars? Polestar is coming with both the Polestar 2 and the Polestar 7, same platform. And it is also rumored that Zeekr wants to build cars at Volvo to avoid the punitive tariffs. I think that's likely to happen. These low prices are partly due to the wage levels in Slovakia. On Volvo's website, where they are looking for car builders, you can read that the monthly salary is €1,344, including bonuses. And that's not so far from the wages I'm talking about in China, asking, how much does a car worker earn in China? Around €1,000, they say. Admittedly, for a 6-day work week. But so the salary in Swedish krona is under 15,000 krona a month. And then one might wonder, how long can they afford to keep Torslanda running? Which they have admittedly invested heavily in, so I don't think there's any danger right now in any way, but in the long run, who knows? And even Volkswagen, BMW, the new Chinese manufacturers that are going to build cars in Europe, they are setting up in low-wage European countries. What happens then to Germany and Sweden and so on? That's where I think the EU needs to think a little bit about how things will turn out. Or else all car manufacturing will disappear from Western Europe. And regarding this matter of factories in the West, Volvo is currently negotiating a contract with the Belgian state for support of 1.3 billion SEK to upgrade the factory in Ghent, make it greener and more modern in order to keep the factory running in the future and secure the manufacturing of cars there. So sure, things are happening in the West, but some kind of support package like this is needed for it to work anywhere there. And an interesting thing about that is that the agreement states that Zeekr will be allowed to build cars in that factory. So maybe that's where they'll build cars. Or perhaps they will build cars in both Slovakia and Ghent. Who knows? I don't have any exact specifications, but Carup has reported on an entry-level version called the P6 with 300 horsepower and an all-wheel drive P10 with around 400 horsepower. As for ranges, I think we'll end up around 600 kilometers. A little up and down, depending on how big the batteries are and what type of batteries and so on. But what I'm most excited about is actually the design and the interior. Volvo's former design chief and Polestar's former CEO, Thomas Ingenlath, has made a comeback at Volvo. And it was he who developed the stylish Volvo cars, EX60, EX90, V90, the whole new generation, and also, for that matter, the Polestar 2 and so on, which made Volvo's cars look more premium and luxurious. So I think he will transform today's Volvo cars into something a bit more luxurious and elegant. That's my guess. And he has already revealed that the upcoming interiors will have more physical controls. It's not optimal, he says, to have just one big screen for user-friendliness, and Volvo builds cars for people that should be, like, easy to use. So I believe in more controls, more of a premium feel in the interior. Maybe something along those lines. Thanks, Gemini. And I also believe, as I said, in a slightly more luxurious exterior feel, a little less stripped down, maybe some type of grille, because air needs to get in even in an electric car. And what do you say about my and Gemini's suggestion for the front? I think this one was nice. It looks a bit more refined. Regardless of that, I'm really looking forward to the EX50. Just as nice as the EX60 at a price that will probably start almost 200,000 krona below the EX60. So it will be this electric people's Volvo that many have been asking for. What people have been waiting for. Admittedly, $500,000 for a car, that's expensive, but for this car, I think it could be really, really good. Orders are said to start late this year, and I'm guessing there will be queues. What do you think? Write in the comments. Did you find this video interesting? A bit of speculation and so on, but it's something that's coming at any rate. And please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And if you want, you're welcome to become a member of the channel and support me. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.